This place is empty. Wow.
Look at the place now.
It's closed.
How did velvet carpets and marble counters become the stage for one of the richest customers in London to scream, "Where's my car?" How did people who could buy dozens of cars hand over the keys to Ferraris and Bentleys and wake up to voicemail messages that said, "Sold, awaiting funds"? This is not a petty thief. This is a glossy brand. It's a private sales room where the coffee is poured by attendants who know your name. It's a company that posted glossy export figures and trophies of awards on Instagram. It presented the ritual of luxury. It presented trust. And yet, in the weeks after a notice of intention and an official administration filing, owners found themselves in a new ritual, standing outside locked gates, filming confrontations, and scrolling through messages that promised payout dates that never arrived. From the owner's perspective, the betrayal is blunt and personal. This was not just about money, it was about honor, reputation, timing. For many sellers, the expected proceeds were capital for another purchase, a mortgage payment, a business deal. The missing funds were not abstract, they were plans collapsed into legal forms. Listen to the pattern customers report. First came the handshake and the private tour. Then the soft sell. We handle everything: export, customs, and premium marketing. Contracts were signed in private rooms, terms read like routine consignment language: sale or return, consignment, authorization to sell. Few insisted on escrow accounts. Few demanded immediate bank confirmations for sale proceeds. Why would they? The room looked like a bank. The sales manager looked like a partner. Trust, not paper, sealed the deal. Now, owners say the same polish that seduced them became camouflage. Press feeds and curated events disguised retrenchment. Shipping manifests and third-party storage notes replaced straightforward title transfers. And when administrators stepped in, the legal reality was different from the visible reality. Administrators control assets. Secured creditors have priority. Physical possession, customers discovered, was not the same as legal ownership. This is a story told from the owner's viewpoint. It uses reported experiences and public filings. It does not allege criminal intent. It does insist on one blunt lesson. In the world of ultra-luxury, glamour can be used to obscure danger. They sold a promise first and a service second. In the beginning, GVE story sounded simple and seductive. Founders with industry contacts, a polished showroom in Uxbridge, and a steady pipeline to buyers overseas. For owners, this narrative mattered more than balance sheets. Reputation acted as currency. A warm introduction from a trusted broker, a handshake in a private viewing room, a coffee poured while the sales manager described buyers already lined up, these rituals replaced due diligence. We must be blunt. Wealthy clients behave differently. They trade time for convenience. They value curation. They expect discretion. If a dealer looks impeccable, if other wealthy owners vouch for them, many skip the paperwork theater that ordinary sellers endure. That cultural shortcut created a vulnerability. GVE learned to sell that shortcut as a feature. You won't need to chase buyers. We handle export, customs, and premium marketing. The pitch reduced friction and reframed legal safeguards as needless frictions to a high-net-worth clientele. Early wins amplified trust. A few profile sales, an export to a celebrity buyer, a glossy photo on social feeds, these became social proof. Owners point to those moments and say, that visible success cinched confidence. They signed consignment agreements that often used industry-standard language: sale or return, consignment, authorization to sell. Few insisted on escrow accounts. Few demanded immediate bank confirmations for sale proceeds. Why would they? The room looked like a bank. The sales manager looked like a partner. Trust, not paper, sealed the deal. Now, owners say the same polish that seduced them became camouflage. Press feeds and curated events disguised retrenchment. Shipping manifests and third-party storage notes replaced straightforward title transfers. And when administrators stepped in, the legal reality was different from the visible reality. Administrators control assets. Secured creditors have priority. Physical possession, customers discovered, was not the same as legal ownership. This is a story told from the owner's viewpoint. It uses reported experiences and public filings. It does not allege criminal intent. It does insist on one blunt lesson. In the world of ultra-luxury, glamour can be used to obscure danger. Growth felt like proof. More cars, bigger events, new services. Owners saw expansion as validation. That perception worked against them. As GVE multiplied consignments, the inventory swelled. More cars meant more capital tied up. Staff, shipping, showroom fit-outs, and bespoke services all required cash. Customers report the dealer pitched speed and reach. We sell fast, we export worldwide. Those words comforted owners who needed liquidity or quick turnover. Scale introduced complexity. Cars were moved between storage yards, paperwork began to use ambiguous terms. Third-party storage and in transit for export appeared on invoices. For a busy owner, these notes sounded normal. For someone trying to recover assets, they became obstacles. Cross-border logistics add time and cost. They create plausible deniability. An owner who shows up at a gate finds the car overseas or with the shipping agent. Repossession becomes a legal maze. Customers also describe a steady drumbeat of investor talk. Management posted about advanced discussions and strategic partners. Those announcements were calming. They delayed urgent escalation. Owners who might have sued chose to wait. That waiting handed the dealer time. Time is a tactic. It lets apparent solvency outlast real liquidity. Related party activity compounded the opacity. When corporate groups trade assets internally, the owners of those assets can slip behind contractual claims. Customers with significant sums rarely parse group structures. They do not expect assets to be shuffled like ledger entries. But when money moves through affiliates, the trail blurs. Administrators later face a tangle. Owners face delays. Finally, filing behavior signaled stress. Customers notice late accounts and auditor changes. Late filings are a red flag in any business. In a luxury market, they should be noticed sooner. Yet the polish of a showroom masks simple facts on a public register. The net result was predictable. Expansion created leverage that looked affluent but was fragile. The dealers sold confidence and scale. Owners bought it. When cash tightened, the same growth that sold trust became the mechanism that obscured it.
Customers describe a pattern that reads less like random failure and more like a playbook. Each move made sense in isolation. Together, they created a sleepwalking trap. Here are the tactics owners say allowed a polished dealer to outmaneuver even very wealthy clients. 1. Glamour as shield. Keep the stage immaculate. Host private viewings. Feed glossy Instagram content and export boasts. A sparkling brand disarms scrutiny. Owners report feeling embarrassed to press for paperwork in a place that felt so respectable. It looked like a bank, one owner told other sellers. When you trust the suit, you rarely demand the ledger. 2. Contractual fog. Consignment language can be dense by design. Terms like authorization to sell or sale or return were standard. But those phrases can leave title, custody, and payment timing unclear. Customers signed believing the car remained theirs until funds cleared. Administrators' priorities after insolvency, customers later learned, do not always reflect that belief. 3. Manufactured velocity. Sold, awaiting funds was a recurring message. Customers received buyer names, expected settlement dates, and polite reassurances, but proof of funds was often absent. That gap buys the dealer time and blunts urgency. Owners kept waiting while the clock ran out. 4. Investor theater. Public posts about advanced talks with investors functioned as a pressure valve. They calmed owners and creditors. No term sheets followed. The suggestion of rescue postponed action. and crucially, preserved the dealer's window to restructure or move assets. 5. Asset diffusion. Cars moved between showrooms, warehouses, and third-party storage. Shipping for export was plausible. For owners trying to reclaim property, these movements became costly friction. Cross-border claims add expense and delay, which benefits the party seeking breathing space. 6. Paper and people. Late filings, auditor changes, and an internal narrative of confidence created a split reality: visible success versus invisible strain. Meanwhile, sales staff kept relationships intact and responses polished. Those human interactions softened the shock when administrators locked the gates. Each tactic left signs. Each sign could have been heeded. Together they explain how confidence, not cash, became the currency that was traded away. Owners arrived at gates expecting numbers. They found silence, locked doors, and a different ledger. For many, the loss is immediate and practical. A sale that was meant to free up cash never settled. A planned purchase evaporated. A business relying on short-term liquidity stalled. The damage is financial, operational, and humiliating. Owners speak of sleepless nights, phone calls that looped with scripted reassurances, and lawyers' invoices that mounted while assets sat under administrator control. The legal landscape is precise and unforgiving. Once a company enters administration, the appointed administrator takes custody of assets and assesses claims. Secured creditors and certain priority creditors rank above consigning owners in many scenarios. Title documentation, not merely physical possession, often determines who recovers value. That technicality is the pivot where perception and law diverge. Standing next to your car in a locked yard does not equal a legal right to immediate repossession. Customers report fragmented communication. Some received a notice of intention before administrators were formally appointed. Others scrolled social posts promising investor rescue that never materialized. Administrators published inventory lists and instructions, but the process is slow and formal. Proof of ownership becomes the critical currency. Invoices, title documents, purchase receipts, export paperwork, and notarized records matter more than Instagram stories. Owners scrambling now say they are forced into a new role: forensic collectors of paperwork. The human toll is broad. Beyond money, there is reputational risk for collectors and businesses who relied on expected proceeds. There is time lost in legal meetings and uncertainty about when or if funds will return. There are stories of confrontations at showrooms, threats and fear. Owners describe an odd shame. To be victimized does not fit the identity of someone used to privilege. That dissonance deepens anger. Public records show a notice of intention and then administration. The appointed administrator is public. These filings trigger statutory procedures. But filings do not quickly translate into recoveries. For many owners, the immediate priority is documentation, urgent legal counsel, and lodging claims with the administrator. For some, the outcome will be partial recovery. For others, it may be a long, costly fight.
The collapse of trust at GVE London is a simple algebra of image minus transparency. Luxury creates an expectation of safety. That expectation shortened scrutiny. Owners who once walked into a private viewing and signed on a handshake now face formal insolvency rules and the slow arithmetic of creditor priority. The lesson is brutal but clear. In high-value markets, style can be weaponized. Confidence can be rented. Papers cannot be. From the owner's vantage point, there are three immediate realities. First, glamour does not equal fiduciary care. Second, physical access to assets does not guarantee legal entitlement. Third, speed and documentation win over reputation in any post-insolvency recovery. If you are an owner caught in this, these are the pragmatic steps to take now. Urgent legal actions. What owners must do this week. Contact the appointed administrator immediately. Ask for the inventory list and the procedure for lodging claims. Record every communication. Lodge a formal proof of debt or claim without delay. Follow the administrator's deadlines precisely. Gather incontrovertible ownership evidence, purchase invoices, title documents, VAT invoices, export paperwork, notarized bills of sale, key receipts, and evidence of agreed commission rates. Preserve all communications, emails, WhatsApp threads, SMS, receipts, and any written promises of sale or investor commitments. Time-stamped screenshots help. Instruct an insolvency lawyer experienced in consignment disputes. Early legal advice can preserve arguments you may otherwise lose. Longer-term protections, policy, and practice. Require segregated client accounts or escrow for sale proceeds. Do not accept general ledger assurances. Insist on notarized proof of title and an independent custody receipt when handing over a high-value asset. Demand proof of buyer funds before accepting a sold status. Bank confirmations matter. Vet corporate groups. Check company's house filings for late accounts or multiple related entities at the same address. Treat PR claims skeptically. Verify investor announcements with term sheets and proof of funds.